Good morning. The task I've been given is very simple. In 18 minutes, I'm supposed to challenge one of the most important paradigms of human history. A paradigm that has stood the test of time, has been highly useful, has served its purpose extremely well. What I'm going to say doesn't mean it's going to demolish this paradigm. It will see its relevance as a utilitarian aspect to human conditioning rather than anything more. It is very necessary to continue to challenge every paradigm, otherwise we stop evolving. And you know what Darwin says about people who stop evolving? They die. Modern science, you may be surprised to hear this, I come from the field of science. Modern science, especially theoretical science and physics, and also neuroscience, are struggling. They're going up blind alleyway and getting lost in infinite dimensions and space-time. They're struggling. So it is necessary sometimes to re-examine some of these key issues or key ideas that we have at the heart of our scientific enterprise. The paradigm I'm going to challenge is the paradigm of materialism. You are at Warwick University, it's all matter, it's matter and materialism and engineering you're studying. I'm going to challenge materialism itself. You say, this sounds like a very tough thing in 18 minutes. See what I do. You see, if, for example, you look at sciences, within all the sciences, there is one science that sits at the middle of it and says, I am your master. Everybody come and sit at my feet. In the Indian vernacular, come and offer coconuts at my feet. And this particular field is called physics. And at the heart of physics, right at the heart of it, not on the periphery, so it's a very important discovery that we hit upon in the last century. That discovery, in a way, is far more significant than all the discoveries of physics in the past few thousand years. It's even much more sweeter than nuclear physics, elementary particles, or electromagnetism, or gravitation and relativity. They pale into insignificance compared to this particular feature that is discovered at the heart of physics itself. And that feature is called quantum. And people shudder straight away. Quantum? What's quantum? Let me just remove the mystery behind this, because sometimes it's kind of shrouded in mystery and you lose track of what you're talking about. First of all, they warn you. The physicists themselves will warn you. If you encounter the quantum phenomena, and if you don't start feeling dizzy, that means you've not understood it. Go again. But the converse is not true. If you're wandering around the campus of Warwick University and you start feeling dizzy, don't think that the mystery of quantum mechanics has been hit upon you. You need to see a physician. What is this quantum and why is it so unique? First of all, let me tell you, this quantum phenomena has got three fathers. Now, whenever you have any child with three fathers, you know what you are expecting, weirdness. So it has got three fathers, Heisenberg, Bose, and Schrödinger. Very powerful, astute physicists, very well recognized. And also this quantum, this little chap called quantum, has got a very famous uncle. Now the uncle helped this quantum to be developed at the early stages. He helped the birth of the quantum, but then suddenly turned against quantum and became really vengeful. At every opportunity, this uncle, this very famous uncle, tried to run down the quantum. And the benevolent father said to stop him doing that. Let me tell you the name of this nasty uncle. You'll be surprised. Was out to knock out the quantum. The name is Einstein. He had tremendous difficulty with the quantum. I'll tell you why he had this difficulty. Because of this fixation on matter, materialism, a deterministic, materialistic worldview that was being challenged. And he had struggled. He died like that, struggling against the quantum. But the quantum survived, thankfully. So, what is this unique thing? Why is it so special, this quantum phenomenon? Why is it so special? It's the heart of science. It is stupendously successful. It has matured. Everything that you kind of encounter, your computer chip, your DNA, your biological, everything can be, expressed to the 10th decimal point without any problem at all. It is stupendously successful and yet impossible to fathom. The reason why the science struggles with the quantum is purely this. It asks us to challenge this paradigm that we've been working in, the paradigm of matter. What is this paradigm? It says, how did it arise? We human beings were trying to make sense of the world that we lived in. We saw material things around us. And all these material things had certain characteristics. Oh, wood, it burns. Oh, water, it flows. Oh, yes. So there was substance and attributes. So we extrapolated and said, even when we are trying to look at the depth of reality, looking at the fabric of reality, you must continue to use the same particular methodology, substance and attributes. This little tiddly little fellow called atom, that's the substance. It's got certain attributes, charge, mass, spin. Oh yes, we continue. It seems to work well. And now, suddenly, when we dig deeper into the nature of reality, this paradigm shudders. We don't know where to look because we are still stuck with this paradigm of matter and a materialistic worldview, which is making life difficult. Without going into the equations of quantum mechanics, that's why I'm not using any slides. Make it light-hearted. What is the heart of quantum? This is what it says. You see this material world that you are so sure about? Underpinning this material world sits something which is the fabric of reality, which is something that can best be classed as non-material. It is not matter. The only thing we can say about it is not matter. You ask them, what is it? What is it? They say, don't ask. We don't know. We don't have the vocabulary for it. But it's not matter. Matter does not underpin this reality. Matter is a secondary phenomena. It's an epiphenomena. It just pops out. The thing that underpins this reality is essentially extremely fluid. It's not water. It's very fluid, very interconnected, very dynamic. We have no vocabulary. I'm just using this kind of superfluous words. Let me give an example just to give a flavor of what this quantum is all about. If I took two bricks, here is my material world, I live in it. Here are two bricks. I thumb them together. Got a rubble there. I can still discern the two bricks sitting there. I take two quantas, the underpinning to this brick, at the real, the deeper level. I take two quanta, put them together. Either I can have two quanta, 1.5 quanta, 1 quanta, half a quanta, quarter quanta, and the magic of all, nothing, zero. It's not even matter and antimatter kind of disintegrating. It's something much more deeper. There's no ripple left. No energy comes out. It just merges and disappears. See how fluid it is. That is reality. But you say, but that doesn't happen with the bricks. What went wrong? And when did that go wrong? How did this micro situation turn into this macro situation which is dramatically different from it? How do you reconcile? We don't know. But this is reality. This is the heart of quantum. And there is something else that becomes very visible with the quantum. It immediately begins to show us that there is a tremendous linkage at a deeper level, instantaneous linkage with the rest of the creation. You don't even need a light signal to go from one lump to another lump to pass a message. At a deeper level, they are interconnected in intimate manner, instantaneously. This defies normal physical laws or physical ideas of world. There is a third aspect of the quantum that makes everybody get really nervous about it. It says for this unusual feature to become macro and become this weird thing called matter, you require something which is not matter already. Otherwise, it can't flip it. You need something which is non-material to make this thing flip. Common sense. And here we come across a new word entering the realm of physics which the physicists hate. And the word is, you need a conscious observer. This is consciousness. We don't want this nonsense. This is a material science. Stay out. We don't want this conscious chap to enter our field. We know this objective reality we deal with. How did this conscious chap get into it? And then they make quips. Whenever a paradigm is challenged, the first reaction is always to ridicule it or to become indifferent to it. And this is very visible with quantum. So you get this quip saying, oh, do you mean to say that the moon cannot come into being unless a frog looks at it, says Stephen Hawkins? He thinks he's already got over it. He has not really explained or understood the phenomena. Why do we need a conscious observer to flip this micro into macro, this very fluid thing to become this crass and gross material world. You need something that is non-material. We don't know how to define it, but we use the word consciousness. And the only way modern science, modern physics today tries to get around this issue, you'll find this very interesting, is to say, in order to avoid this need to have a conscious observer for this thing to flip, let us not let it flip at all. You know how they do it? They say, now if you believe this, you believe anything. They say the universe is breaking itself into infinite copies of itself at every infinitesimal second of time. So while I am talking to you, infinite copies of me have already gone somewhere else. And this is happening not every second, every infinitesimal second of a time, of a moment. Now this is, if you like, normally science thrives on convergence. Things kind of, you try and explain things with lesser and lesser number of variables. You are cracking this universe into infinite copies of itself just in order to avoid the conscious observer. Oh yes, we want to do that. And you want to believe that? Yes, we want to believe that, rather than have consciousness. This is the most ludicrous thing, because this is the most uneconomical model that you can ever devise. And science says we'll play with it because we don't know what we are dealing with. So we'll carry on with these infinite copies of itself all the time to avoid this conscious chap to enter the system. This is divergence with a vengeance. So poor Occam must be kind of shuddering in his grave. I said, I told these science people, try and converge, give a more economic worldview. And you are struggling, so you kind of come up with this most divergent worldview. This is also visible in particle physics. I want to talk about that, of trying to get this nest of Russian dolls and ending up with the 11-dimensional space-time universe. And you say, oh, you see, this is the best model we have. It's such an elegant theory. What elegant? If you've got 11-dimensional space-time, you can produce infinite variety of universes, and of course one will fit yours. What's so special about it? And one of them will have Harry Potter as well. Guaranteed. Because they're infinite. He'll be there. You see how ridiculous the whole thing becomes. Because science is struggling to challenge this materialistic approach, it is prepared to go down these blind alleys of infinite universes and all these multi-level ideas. Now we take the journey into another science deliberately, because the word consciousness arose. What is this consciousness, we ask? Let us go into the life sciences, the biological science. How do they define life? I mean, the kind of stuff I hear, and I of course like to pull my hair out, is this. Whenever science struggles, it is a habit of producing a jungle of jargon and getting lost in it. Just because it can't handle some of these kind of unusual features, it will produce a whole jungle of jargon. You heard some, I'm sure, this morning. And you get lost in it and say, wow, such fantastic, but I don't know where I am. They say this life thing, what is this life thing? They say, well, this is a dissipative structure far from equilibrium. It's an emergent phenomena in an epigenetic, complex systems of structures within structures. Make of it what you like. I tell you how I found the best definition of living things. It's nice to find simple ways of understanding difficult things. They say, this is how we define a living thing. Suppose you find a piece of rock, and you are in a kind of weird mood, and you want to kick the piece of rock. You go and kick it. Knowing your physics, of course you know your physics and maths, you can work out its trajectory to the nearest millimeter. So far, so good. Suppose you are in an even more weird mood and you're walking about and you see a dog, and you feel like, now you see, I'm a mild-mannered Hindu who is against violence towards animals in the name of science. So I'm saying just carry out the thought experiment. So you see a dog and you say, go for it. You know, one thing is for sure. We don't know, we can't work out the trajectory of the dog, but one thing is very likely, he'll go for your leg. This is, I'm trying to define life in simplistic terms. This is what life is defined as in the Hindu tradition. It is not that it's something that is in compliance with the physical world that we see in front of us. It's not in compliance, it stands up against it. It is in defiance of it. This is how we define life. And in biological science, this is how they define. They say it is as if there is an autonomous structure that interacts with its environment in a selective manner. The word is selective. So it is not dictated by nature. It is at best, kind of disturbed by nature, external. It's not directed. It's not dictated by. It's just disturbed. It's going, ouch, don't do that to me. That's a living thing. The unique feature about living thing, one thing that makes it very special is that it has got this power of cognition. Even a single cell thing is able to suss out its environment, move towards light or heat, is able to suss out, is becoming somehow rudimentarily conscious. Cognition is the word. It seems to recognize somehow something is different, is become visible. Sometimes, in order to demolish the idea of something special, there is something special about living things, people say, we see it's artificial intelligence, Mr. Lakhani. It's nothing more than, if you like, this processing power of the brain. Something that processes information the way we define life. You might think that's a good thing, sounds nice, kind of modern age. But your laptop that you possess, each and every one of you, I'm sure, can process information 1 billion times faster than you ever can. What does it say about you? The computer is alive, you are dead. This is not that simplistic. And when we look at the life sciences and we come to this idea of a human being, with this advanced nervous system, this brain, this awareness which was rudimentary becomes more visible as consciousness. Again, I will not go into a definition of consciousness that are given out by modern speakers. A functional thing in the brain, purely, and you can reduce it to the neurons, and neuroreductionists like Rick. I will not touch any of them. I've been to the mother goddess of neuroscience. There is a mother goddess of neuroscience, and her name is Susan Greenfield. I said, Susan, what is this consciousness? She said, Jay, don't ask us, we don't know. Just an honest answer. There's a hard problem that has never been solved, which says that how is it possible that this kind of lifeless neurons somehow produce this subjective experience which gives us access to reality. We have never touched it. We don't know what it is. That's the honest truth. You don't know what is consciousness either. When you're doing life sciences, oh yes, no clue. You don't know which slice of the brain produces it. We don't know which experiment to do to discuss this, to find what is its origin. We have no clue what this consciousness is all about at all. Oh dear. Problem here as well. Consciousness appears in physics. Consciousness appears in life sciences. They sit like that, unreconciled, both as major issues. Now, every effort science has made to try and come to terms with both these phenomena, physical sciences, quantum, and consciousness in neuroscience, has defied simplistic explanation. They produce a whole jumble of jargon that you can easily get lost in. And yet they do not give you. Do you know what's the difference between proper science and kind of purely, synthetical science, which we have a string of words to kind of link to each other, and there you go round the mulberry bush without defining the mulberry bush. You must have a semantic. You must be able to understand, grasp it. Here, I introduce you now to esoteric Hinduism, which is non-theistic. It doesn't relate to a god as a personality or this idea of spirit as a super personality. It says, grow out of that. That's kindergarten. This esoteric, principle-based Hinduism says, just follow it and see how you like it. It says, through introspection, by looking inward, you discovered what is underpinning to this creation. The thing that underpins all of us, that one thing that unifies, out of which this diversity is manufactured, that one thing is neither body, neither material, nor mental, nor intellectual, but something that we can only class as spiritual. And the two places, the two words that we can use to define the idea of spirit, to give it some kind of handle on this idea of spirit, the two words the Hindu philosophy throws up are asti, bhati. Asti comes from asti, we had asiti in English, which means existence itself. From bhati means consciousness itself. And this is where the reconciliation lies. When you ask a quantum physicist, this thing that you do, this mathematical squiggle you keep doing it, give it a physical interpretation. We are fed up with your this airy-fairy, arty-farty stuff. Give us a physical interpretation of your psi function. They say, if you push us hard, I'll tell you what the psi is like. It is nothing but a wiggle in existence, probability of existence, the wiggle in existence is the quantum phenomena. Bhati, consciousness, is the other aspect. And the reason why they link up is this. The very thing that underpins this reality, because manifested in the material world that we experience in front of us, becomes more clearly visible as living things, as the thing that is beginning to wiggle, becomes more clearly manifested as consciousness in us, in human beings. And there are not many consciousness. Consciousness doesn't have a plural. The same one thing is lighting up, looking out through all these eyes here and now. This is how we bring the idea of existence and consciousness together through quantum and through neurosciences. What is the conclusion? Why am I saying this? We live in a world which is so strongly dominated by a materialistic ethos that we produce Madonna, who likes to sing, "I'm a material girl in a material universe." It's time to change that. And the way we change it is this. This is the conclusion of the Hindu tradition. It says, we are not material beings aspiring to the idea of spirituality or conjuring up the idea of spirituality so that we can behave better with each other, we can be more ethical. It's not just a, if you like, a ploy of humankind to become a little bit better. So we say we are not material beings conjuring up ideas of the spirit in order to regulate our material lives. We are essentially spiritual beings caught on a material journey. See the difference? I've turned it upside down. So matter is not the central feature out of which springs out life and consciousness. It's the other way around. It is consciousness and existence that shudder and produce this multiverse that we see in front of us, this multitude of people that we see in front of us. It is the shuddering of consciousness, of existence, that produces this reality that we experience. The difference is going to be this. This is the thing. It's good that TED is recording this. This idea of substance and its attributes are going to be now replaced in the 21st century. Otherwise, science struggles with the word reality and appearance. This is where we sit at the moment. The world is lovely, is coherent, it is universal, and yet it is an appearance. The essential thing that underpins all of us and this material world is spirit, not matter. Thank you, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Lakhani. Questions? Yes, one at the side there. Sorry, I have to run round.
Thank you. That was a very interesting lecture. I'm wondering how quantum entanglement might be used to describe your theory of consciousness.
We say, in reality, there is only one. This is called Advaita Vedanta, or the philosophy of the Hindus. We say this one appears, and the word is Maya, appears as the multitude, as the what is being observed, the object, as well as the subject. So the split appears at the level of appearance. There is only one. So even though I said consciousness and existence, the philosophy says you can't even separate them. When you separate them, appearance has already begun to show itself. So this idea of subject-object divide is also a part of the appearance. At the deeper level, there's only one, which is intertwining of consciousness and existence itself. It's called Satchidanand or Asti Bhati Priya in the esoteric Hindu philosophy. And let me tell you one thing. Schrodinger, one of the fathers of quantum mechanics, he was very shrewd and well-versed. He actually commented that what we are discovering in quantum mechanics and modern science resonates extremely well with the sayings of Eastern metaphysics. It was well recognized. Nothing new that I'm putting on stage now. But it's very necessary to re-emphasize the spirit over the matter, because otherwise we live in a world where we think the only thing we have to do is, because we are material beings, chase after material objects, mask them, become a bigger consumer, consume and burp. Eat, drink and burp. There's nothing more to life. And this thing is saying, grow up, there's much more to you than you think.